Anant. How you doing? I'll give our viewers a small little introduction for our next segment. We have Anant Saxena here. Anant is the director of AIM Research. He has been with the organization for a long time, and he has also been in the industry for very many years now. One of the leading people when it comes to research, both in the terms of analytics and AI and data science. So, Anant, first of all, thank you so much for giving us your time.
No
Thank you so
problem.
much for agreeing to be here on the show. I want to quickly ask you straight away that what was the one key takeaway that you could take from today's budget, which also gave you an idea of the vision that the government has going forward about the country in the upcoming few years?
Mhm. Sure. Thanks. First of all, thanks, Korak, for inviting me to this panel. It's really great joining you guys. First of all, the key takeaway, it's a bit personal. So the tax slab has been increased, so it's a personal personal advantage. So I'm very happy for that, to be really honest with you. So the enhanced CTC would be increased, so very happy for that. So just jokes aside, so I think one of the best things that the government has done is they have introduced AI Center of Excellence within the agriculture and other domains. Now they have done it for the education sector. So all the new IITs that will be coming up, they'll have that AI Center of Excellence. It's a huge thing, I guess. Getting this started at the college level, with students getting to access all these, resources and stuff like that, that will really benefit India. So you see, like everything is happening in the West and in China, but now if we can introduce all these things at the graduation level, at the premier institutes, I think that would be really great. Also, yeah,
Sure, sure.
sorry.
Go ahead, Anant.
Yeah, and also I think they've also, I think, increased the they have allocated around 500 crore rupees for this Center of Excellence for AI for Education. That's again very relevant. And also the Deep Tech Fund. So they have also introduced this Deep Tech Fund to support startups working in the advanced technological fields and AI. So I think that is the best thing because see, a lot of money coming in India from foreign as well. But if the government also supports, so it will be like, the money from the government supporting the startups now. So that will be really great. So yeah, I think a lot of good news for the AI startups and AI development in India in general. So really great stuff.
That's great to hear, Anant. There is a small little argument on the other side of that as well. That
Hmm.
as far as expectations were concerned, there were a
Hmm.
lot of expectations that there will be major allocations in the field of AI.
Right,
But
right, right,
all we saw was for the one 500 crore allocation for the Center of Excellence. Of
right,
course, the allocation that was done last year was of an amount of 10,300 crore, but
right,
that was
right,
for R&D over a period of 5 years. In this
right, right.
budget, it was touted to be by many, by
Hmm.
industry experts, to be the AI budget. It was touted to be,
Hmm.
but it didn't really pan out like that. Was
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think the amount that has been allocated right now, the way the
Hmm.
government is going forward, keeping just AI in mind, will it be
Hmm.
sufficient to make AI, Indian AI, globally
Hmm.
competitive when it comes to research and development?
See, as of now, if you have asked me before the DeepSeek thing, so I would have told you that this is not sufficient because the amount of investment you need to build those models and stuff like that and those GPUs, right? It's not. But now DeepSeek has shown us the way, right? It can be done at a very less cost as well. Like if you have efficient models and if you improve the efficiency, then definitely. So now I feel 10,000 crore over the period of 5 years or whatever it is. I think it's sufficient. Now it's up to us, the tech fraternity in India, that how they utilizes it and how they build on it. So money is like it's never enough. So the more they do it, the better it will get definitely. But I think as of now, I think we should focus what we have in the plate from the government and then maybe build on that. So I think that would be the best approach, and hope in the next and the upcoming budgets next year and the year after that they'll increase this amount as well. So that will be really great. Yeah.
Where do you think this budget will have the most impact? Say, an area like core research or AI
Mhm.
infrastructure or commercialization. Also, are there any gaps in the allocation that maybe should have been addressed? Why don't you answer the first one first? Where the
Mhm.
maximum impact can happen, research, infrastructure, or commercialization?
I think research, because everything is right now within that stage also. So I think India should do I think the benefit will be more in the research aspect. Commercialization, everything that will happen, and that will have their own fundings from other sources as well. But I think if we can fundamentally affect the research that is happening at various labs, at various top education institute, I think that would be the best. And I think with this funding, with this amount, I think this will definitely affect the research part, AI research part.
That's great to hear.
Yeah,
About like half an hour before we got on our live today,
yeah.
uh, I was talking to Supreet and Siddharth,
Mm-hmm.
both who are journalists and reporters at
Yeah.
AIM,
Yes.
working in the field of AI, artificial
Yeah.
intelligence, tech research, and everything. And there was
Mm-hmm.
something that both of them mentioned, especially Supreet mentioned,
Mm.
that of course there is the argument that, which is something that you mentioned as well, that money can you can never have enough money.
Yeah.
There
Mm-hmm.
always could have been more money put in
Oh,
to the
yeah, yeah.
AI systems.
Right,
But
right.
when we are we in the right place to compare the money that is being allocated right now in the Indian AI field?
Mm-hmm.
Will it be the correct thing to do to compare it to the money going out in the US field? Like say when Trump came into power, one of the first
Mm-hmm.
things that was done was the
Billion
allocation
dollar.
of
Right.
500 billion dollars
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Yeah.
So that amount, or say the amount that is going in the Western countries, or even of course
Mm-hmm.
DeepSeek was made at a fraction of the cost of
Right.
say that $500 billion or ChatGPT, but even
Right.
there the amount is much different than the
Yeah.
amount that has been allocated here in India. But what
Mm-hmm.
Supreet mentioned was we are still, when it comes to R&D, when it
Mm-hmm.
comes to being able to invent, being able to
Mm-hmm.
create our own LLM system, our own Indian AI model, we are
Right.
still a little behind. So
Yeah.
we should first aim to get there,
Mm.
and then we can expect money like that as well. Prior to that, if that kind of money is put in, it's
Yeah.
basically just for marketing gimmick. Would you agree to this? And can you maybe elaborate a little more on this?
No, I totally agree with this point. So, see, we are right now, India is more of the services game, right? So, the development, the amount of money that will be pushed by the government in the US, we can't do that in India, right? More than the GDP is more than 10x, right? There in and everything. So, right, and we have a lot of other issues as but I think India should leverage. And India can. It's not that India cannot do it. India should do it, but then I think right now the capability is not such that we can invest such large amount of like billions of dollars of investment in this field as of now. First, let's get something started. Maybe like an initial model or initial structure or initial LLM models that we have established, and then if the government sees, okay, yeah, we have this opportunity here where we can, build models compared to the US and other countries. So then we should put in the money, maybe from the government or from foreign sources or whatever it is. But yeah, as of now, we need to do research and maybe do something more efficient in the sense that we can bring something different that which is already there in the market. So we can't compete with a like a open AI or stuff like that. Maybe we can use some other services around it that we can invent or maybe innovate in that area. So that would be really great. So I totally
You
agree
are
with
a,
you. Yeah,
you are a director of research yourself.
yeah, yeah,
You've
yeah,
been in the field for so long.
yeah,
What
yeah.
do the AI companies and the AI startups and the AI industry in this country,
Hmm.
what does it need to do to get closer to that level?
So what I feel is that as of now, whatever AI startups are there in the country, they're basically just utilizing the model which are already present and then building over it. So maybe like we should definitely be able to do something different in the sense like maybe if we don't need to create it from like ground zero. Maybe with what we have already, given the infrastructure that is already have, maybe we should innovate enough to get something different out of like what DeepSeek did, right? So what they did was they just copied OpenAI, but they made it so more efficient, so much more efficient that they didn't needed those high-end GPUs from NVIDIA. They were able to process the same speed from a very lower end. So they did innovation in the sense that they did it at a very basic level. So we should innovate in that front, right? What is there, then we should utilize it and create something which has not been created by anywhere else in the world, and then maybe lead there. That's this is the Indian way of doing things, and this is the way efficient way, like ISRO, for example, right? ISRO is known to send rockets to the moon and to the Mars like at a very less efficient cost, right? So I think the east should definitely learn from the West and do it in a much better way. So I think India definitely has the ability to do that. I think we can definitely do. Maybe we can, the tech engineers in India, the AI startups in India should do something different than that which has not been done anywhere in the world. So I think that would be the edge. So we should be different and we should innovate in some brilliant way.
I love the example that you gave, the analogy that you gave of ISRO,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
because just yesterday
yeah.
at AIM, we shoot, our viewers know, for those who don't know, I'll tell you guys, we shoot and host a lot of podcasts and we upload them as well with
Right.
industry leaders, with founders, with entrepreneurs. One of them is called The Hot Seat, another is called
Mhm.
Simulated Reality.
Right.
Yesterday, I was hosting a simulated reality podcast with one of the founders called Krishnan,
Mm.
and he mentioned the same, that when it comes to the Indian mentality sounds a wrong word. When it comes to the
Mhm.
Indian uh, by nature habit, we are
Mhm.
frugal by nature,
Yeah, yeah.
and that is something that is kind of taught to us from our upbringing itself, from the fathers
And
and the
not in a
mothers.
bad way, not in a bad way, but not
Exactly,
even in a good way. Yeah.
in a
Mhm.
very good way. And the reason I mentioned that, because you mentioned ISRO,
Yeah.
and before my project with AIM,
Mhm.
in my previous project, I was hosting a podcast with the ISRO chief S.
Mhm.
Somnath sir,
Mhm.
Dr. S. Somnath, and I asked him the
Right.
exact same question,
Right.
that ISRO is famous for carrying out these missions that the world looks at with awe, but
Right.
at a fraction of the cost.
Right. Right.
And he gave the exact same answer, that it is because of the frugal nature that we have in our
Mhm.
upbringing, where the
Mhm.
mothers and the grandmothers and the fathers and the grandfathers teach us, don't waste food, share,
Mhm.
make sure that things are not wasted.
Right.
And that is what is implemented in ISRO's day-to-day activity as well. They
Right.
make sure nothing is wasted.
Right.
So
Exactly.
would you say that when we look at the entrepreneurs, when we
Mhm.
look at the decision makers, that is what needs to be implemented? And
Yep.
B is, in that sense, is it a
Mhm.
positive point that a humongous amount, which might have created news headlines,
Mhm.
but might not have been what the Indian AI industry needs right now? Maybe it is a good thing that the government has done this.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. As I told you, so see, being efficient and being innovative requires a lot of mind power and stuff like that, and we have been able to do that, right? So when you have abundance, so then it's like luxury. So you can do things in luxury, right? But then there's a famous saying, right? Necessity is the mother of all inventions, right? So now we are saying that if we have limited resources, again, limited funding as compared to the other countries, limited, but I think the best thing that we have is like manpower, right? We have brilliant engineers all across the globe as well as in India. So yeah, we should definitely do something different, which is like revolutionary in its way. Maybe not frugal, or maybe if it's something which is revolutionary and later on it gets so much investment that it gets so big that but something needs to be done like at a very elementary stage, that we are doing defining it in a different way. So that needs to be. And I totally agree with that. We
Great,
should.
great, great insight there, Anant.
Yeah.
Anant, in today's budget, it was mentioned and mentioned multiple times
Hmm.
that partnerships with the private sector are being given very importance,
Right. Yeah.
between the public sector and the private sector. How do you see this playing out? What kind of incentives or frameworks would ensure meaningful collaboration between the two?
I think India is a very good example of public and private partnership in every sector, I guess, if you say so, if you see so, right? So there are some companies which are some countries which are very public, enterprises. Let's say when we talk about China and stuff like that, and then there are very capitalist countries like US where everything is private. I think India is the best country in terms of the amalgamation of the public and the private enterprises, right? So I think in this field also, I think if we do a privatization of some areas, which will eventually, because the Indian private sector is also growing very rapidly, the government has a lot of other responsibilities that they have to take care, because they are a government and India is a huge country with a lot of other issues that they need to focus on. So they may not be able to fully devote their time. But private enterprises, given the size of private enterprise they have, so I think they will be able to do a good job at certain areas. So I think it's a very good amalgamation which is ongoing in India for the past 20-30 years, and I think it will continue to do so. So that's the best approach I think that we should follow. Yeah.
Let's talk about GPU for a second. The
Mm-hmm.
government aims to develop domestic AI infrastructure.
Yes.
How
Yeah.
crucial do you think the indigenous compute power will be for India's AI aspirations? And can the investment reduce dependency on foreign cloud and GPU resources?
Definitely, definitely. It's very, very, very crucial. If we are able to do so, I think Reliance Jio, they are investing a lot to, build hardwares and stuff like that. This again, this technology being very, very niche, right? So if we are able to do that, this will definitely help us a lot. So again, dependence on other countries and other companies will definitely help us a lot. But I think we should not think that we should be very indigenous in terms of development, or we should not take the foreign things. I think we should be very global in the sense that we should have our own capabilities as well, definitely, which will give the cost arbitrage to us, building the and then whenever there's necessary, so we can definitely collaborate with foreign partners. So Nvidia is present in India for the past 20 years, right? So they are kind of a part of our country as well. So they have been in this country. So maybe we can partner with them and stuff like that. So we should be very how do I say global in this approach. But yeah, definitely, if we get from a foreign company, it will not help us with the cost. So if we can do it indigenously, that's the best way to reach out. So we should again do a mix and match there as well. Yeah, both the approaches.
Let's talk about talent and skilling for a second. The
Mhm.
budget highlights major fellowships and AI skilling initiatives.
Okay.
How
Yeah.
effective, yeah, exactly. How effective do you think these will be when it comes to closing the gap between India's talent gap in AI research? Also, what else is needed to build a globally competitive AI workforce?
I think what I think India needs to do is India is very good within the primary higher education, and I think with some good institute at the graduate level as well. I think with those that you just mentioned, those that the government has announced, what you have said they have announced.
They've announced a lot of fellowships,
Fellowships, yeah.
AI skilling initiatives,
Yeah, so now,
especially with the with
yeah.
with the Excellence Center being one of the major initiatives.
Right, right, right. So yeah, with that, with fellowship, so I think till graduation, and I think Indian education system is at par, right? We are doing very good. So we need to build. If you see, most of the people do masters and then go for the PhDs of like. So if these fellowships are introduced, I think the postgraduate programs in India at the leading institutes, let's say the IITs and the Indian Institute of Sciences, if they can, give that advantage to the workforce in India, so I think we can also develop all these amazing stuff that is happening. So if you see most of these people folks who are developing these LM, they all are PhDs, and then masters graduate from all the Ivy Leagues in the US and stuff like that. And all the Indians are going there and doing that stuff, right? So if we can do that, we also have the institutes with the same caliber in India as well, and maybe if the government supports them, and if they do their PhDs and the masters in this same field, so they definitely, it will improve a lot for our own workforce, and then our own companies, they'll do something better in this field. So I think the for those fellowships are really important. Yeah.
Right, right, absolutely. The conversations that I was having before this with two of AIM's reporters, Supreet
Mm-hmm.
and Siddharth,
Mm-hmm.
uh, the discussion came up that when it comes to artificial intelligence, it is good that not a humongous amount of budget was allocated,
Mm-hmm.
because we are still, to be very honest, not at the level when it comes to the US giants, when it comes
Yes.
to the work that DeepSeek has been able to do.
Yes.
DeepSeek has come into recognition and blown all
Right. Right.
records in the last 7 days, but the
Right.
work has been going on for a fair amount of time.
Right.
The Indian AI companies are not of that level yet, to be
Mm-hmm.
honest.
Right.
But when we look at industries like the startup industry and the deep tech industry, the Indian
Right.
ecosystem is doing incredibly well. The startup
Right.
ecosystem of India is the third most
Third.
strongest in the world.
Right.
And then when we look at the allocation that has happened there, a 10,000 crore corpus has been announced for Indian startups. So
Mm-hmm.
clearly, areas which are doing well,
They're investing
major
more.
amount, absolutely, major amount of allocation has happened there. So do
Right.
you think this will in turn also benefit AI startups? And what more is needed to nurture deep tech innovation in these startups?
Yeah, definitely. I think this will benefit. Again, startups as a whole is a larger bucket. So there are startups like these e-commerce companies, quick commerce companies, right? So AI startup is also a part of those startup ecosystem that we're talking about, right? 10,000 crore. But as of now, the AI startup is a very small proportion of the overall startup ecosystem in India. So Indian startup ecosystem is more about currently led by quick commerce companies and delivery, B2C brands and stuff like that. As of now, the startup uh, ecosystem in India is dominated by a different set of companies. AI startup would I would approximately say 10%. The few companies I can count them on my fingers. The big companies we have
Can
done
you
a report as
tell
well.
some of them, the biggest ones?
Yeah, so like there are 20 companies that we recently, so Kritram AI, it's a AI startup, right? Then we have Beethoven that we have come. So they're very small, a lot of like I can name a few as well, but then these are very small companies doing really well, but at a very initial level at now. And also it's a very small part of the overall startup ecosystem. So that's why the difference, right? But then now this has been done, right? 500 crore rupees has been invested. This will eventually increase year by year. That's for sure. Now what we have to do is we have to get this proportion of AI startups in the startup ecosystem, and then maybe like if it's like 20% or 30% of the overall startup ecosystem in India, then we should put in the money, both the government and the VCs, the Indian VCs that are there, and the if the FDI is coming, then is the right time to invest the money. But as of now, they are at a very research initial development stages.
Let's talk about your field a little. That
Yeah,
is research.
yeah.
Apart from AI,
Hmm.
the budget majorly emphasized when it came to research in quantum computing, blockchain,
Hmm.
and there is one field which we were expecting, but
Hmm.
not much was spoken about when it comes to semiconductors. How
Hmm.
should India strategically balance these investments across these domains? And were you a little disappointed? How much were you expecting for the semiconductor industry? And were you a little, taken aback that not much was discussed about that, not much has happened about that in this budget?
By the government.
Yes.
Uh, Honestly, I was not disappointed. I think semiconductor industry. I think there are some big private players who are doing really good in this space, and I think government should leave this aspect to the private organization. See, there should be some investment. I would not say that I would be disappointed. I think whatever they have done is good enough. Semiconductor industry is a very critical industry, and it depends on a lot of things, a lot of supply chain, a lot of stream currently dominated by Taiwan and the few companies in the world. But I think we have seen Reliance, Tata, they all are venturing into it, right? Adani also trying to get it. I think semiconductor industry should be taken care by the private companies. And they are, whatever I've heard about them, they are doing the right thing. So they are trying to get hands on it, and I think they will be able to do a much better job here because it's a very demand supply focused industry, right? So honestly, I was not disappointed. I think whatever investment they have done, they have done in the right place. I'm happy with that. Again, there's no limit, as I initially, there's no limit to the amount that one should spend, right? The government should spend on things. But like a country like India, we have other issues as well. So we have a lot of other things that we need to work on. So we can't be like putting billions of dollars in these technologies as of now. But I think semiconductor industry, particularly, I think the private company should take care of this, and they're doing it really well, as of whatever I have heard through my research and stuff like that. So I think we'll be in a very good space because see, manufacturing is being pushed a lot. So semiconductor manufacturing is a big part of our manufacturing goal within the Modi government. So I think that will be taken care of. We don't have to worry about that.
You know, there are two things that I'm going to take from your this answer itself.
Hmm.
The private players that you're talking about,
Hmm.
there is a lot of investment that is coming into the Indian AI industry from
Yeah.
the private players as well. Just a
Yeah.
few days back, there was news of a major chunk of investment from Microsoft that is coming in, a
Yeah.
major
Yeah.
chunk of investment from Nvidia that is coming in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
exactly. So those will also play. How much of a key role do you think that will also play to push the AI sector in the country?
A lot. See, Microsoft and Nvidia were present in India when they were not trillion-dollar companies. They have been in the country for 20, 21 years now. I think Nvidia has their GCC in India for the last 20 years, right? So when they were not Nvidia that they are now, right? So India is one of their most strategic locations, right? They know they have the talent here. They know the type of workforce that is being built here, right? And now this is no longer the case that India is doing the back end work and everything is done in the US and everything. So now it's global, right? So whatever Nvidia is doing at a global scale, so people in Nvidia in India are also doing, and they would love to invest in India because that's one of the key areas they know. And we have that competitive advantage, right? So a US Nvidia will not do that investment in China because that's dynamics are not there, right? But they will definitely do that in India. I think that's our strong case here, and they will do. both in terms of investment for their own company, and they will definitely do investment for other areas. They are present. You see regularly there the CEO Johnson Yang visiting India regularly, Bill Gates coming to India regularly, having tea with the Dolly Chai wala. So that's the major their visit, like in a calendar year, if they're visiting twice to this country. So I think this is definitely going to benefit us. Yeah.
Absolutely. And another thing that I wanted to take from your answer was the
Mm.
fact that you mentioned that there are a lot of other issues in
Mm.
the
Yes.
country,
Yes.
and a lot of the budget has been allocated in multiple of those areas as well.
Right. Right.
You
Right.
you were following the budget, so if you can tell me, say maybe one or two of the allocations that you were
Mm-hmm.
very impressed to hear, and the entire country was very impressed to hear the tax slabs getting reduced.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
not that, but the other ones.
Yeah, I think a lot of infrastructure investment. I've been heard that there'll be a lot of investment in the infrastructure. So see, the thing now with India is that everything is getting ready, right? But we are like 1.5 billion population, right? So we need to have the infrastructure to get whatever AI or whatever industry that we are talking about. If people are not able to go from place one to place two, then none of this is relevant, right? So I think the government is, for example, like I'll give you a very good example, right? So now you see all the startups through making UPI payment. We are making our UPI payment through. So every startup is based on the government tech stack, that the UPI tech stack, right? So government created the tech stack, right? That okay, there's a UPI payment thing. There's a bank KYC, online KYC. So everything that's a framework, that's a platform that government provided. Now, all those startups like Zomato, Swiggy, Razorpay, they won't be there if this tech stack was not there, right? Or all the startups, I think 90% of the startups are based on this tech stack, right? Zerodha would not be there if this tech stack was not available. If eKYC was not there, it won't be there, right? So this is the platform that government. Now, what the government needs to do, I think India has a lot of private companies, a lot of talent and everything. They need to provide that platform, right? So we may have like 1,000 AI startup, but if we are not able to give that the infrastructure, the airports, the railway lines, the roads and stuff, and all those things, right? And given the size that we are, right, it's not enough. Whatever we have and whatever we're going to have in the 5 years, again, that is also not enough. So we have to do that very efficiently, because that's this platform that we have. Okay, we have all our big cities are now saturated, Bangalore, Hyderabad, and they need to have that infrastructure as well. So I think the government needs to provide us, like, okay, this is the country where these companies can work, function, and then we build on it. Now it's up to the citizens, the private companies, the engineers, and everybody needs to build on that. So that's what I think. And the government then feels okay, this something is thriving, then they will also definitely put in the money there as well.
Absolutely. You know, I want to ask you, the evolution, the way the AI industry, the way the AI world
Mm,
evolves is
mm,
so rapid. I mean, up until 10 days back, it was considered one of, the industries that is changing the world. And
yeah,
in the
yeah.
last 7 days itself, DeepSeek came and topsy-turvied the entire industry. I mean,
Yeah,
the kind of whirlwind week the AI
yeah,
world had, the kind of whirlwind week that DeepSeek had
yeah. Then there
was
was Quen from Alibaba to profile. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I
Mm,
want to ask you that it changes by the day, by the hour. So
mhm,
does the budget do enough to address, say, AI ethics or safety,
mm,
governance frameworks? Does the
mhm.
budget do enough for that? Does more work need to go into that? For more work that needs to go into that, does there need to be different sort of budget, or the same work can be done through this and the private players coming in itself?
I think the same work can be done through private players as well. I think so. The governance and the ethics around it, it will eventually be built, and I think government is very aware about this fact as well. So they will not maybe do it through a budget announcement. Maybe they'll come with some IT policy and stuff like that, which will be taken care of by the Ministry of IT, right? So they banned TikTok, right? The government feel that that's not good for the country, right? So they banned it, right? So all the governance and ethics will be taken care of. I think it won't be part of the budget, but it will be part of the overall IT policy that we have. And I've seen, within our research also, we have seen there have been some modification that has been done within the IT policy and all these company-wide policy that every company needs to follow who are in this space to maintain the ethics and the governance around it. So I think that will be taken care of, and I think I'm very comfortable in saying that it will be taken care by the government. We have been doing it very very well till now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There is one of the questions that has come in from one of our viewers itself.
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to take it for you now. The
Mm-hmm.
gross expenditure on research and development has more than doubled to 1.27 lakhs crore, nearly $15 billion in the
Mm-hmm.
decade ending March 2021.
Right.
What is your take on that?
But sorry, can you please repeat the question again?
I'll repeat the question once again. The gross expenditure on research and development
Mm-hmm.
has more than doubled,
Okay.
1.27 lakh crore in
Okay.
the entire decade, which ended in
Mm-hmm.
March 2021,
Okay. Okay.
to this budget. So, what's your take on that?
I think great. I think it's really great. If we can, if we every, I'll give you an analogy. Like every company, whenever we are talking about some big tech company, we generally see what's the fraction of their revenue or profit they're investing in R&D, right? So the more R&D they're doing, some companies are very R&D specific companies, so they allocate 5% of their budget or 7% of their whatever it is, right? So now if we are talking about a country, India traditionally have not been a very R&D focused country, they because we have not been investing. And if you are saying that, I didn't know about the fact that we have doubled our R&D investment from 2014 to 2024 within a decade. Very good sign to have. R&D in every field is important, whether be it agriculture, whether be it tech, whether it be manufacturing, because if there's no R&D, there's no innovation. There's no innovation, there's no efficiency gain. There's no efficiency gain, then we'll be left behind in the world in the race of this GDP and economy and stuff like that. So if it is done, if it's doubled in the last 10 years, nothing like it. The best thing to hear.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anant, in a discussion that we were having with Prabhu,
Mm-hmm.
we spoke about the fact that there were a little disappointments going on,
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of, starting from industry insiders to industry leaders, loads more was expected when it comes to the AI budget.
Mm-hmm.
Now, your take, we've already heard on that,
Mm-hmm.
but having been in this field for so many years now, a director of research for so many years now, is there any other area where would have liked to seen a little more focus being given on when it comes
Mm-hmm.
to the AI industry, when it comes to the budget allocated for the AI industry?
Mm, little more focus within the AI industry, where the government should have put on.
Yes,
Mm, I think this 500 crore budget allocation is for the AI Center of Excellence, right? That
yes,
they're
absolutely.
going to establish, right?
Yeah.
And I also know that there's a FFS fund, like funds for funds of startups, something like that, right? I think what I felt, if the government can do, is that a lot of AI startups are being funded by these VC firms and private equity firms, which have their money coming from abroad. So maybe a fund or maybe a venture fund provided by government, who are just supporting the initial stages of some AI startups, slow early stage seed funding. So because see, what I've observed during my research of some companies is that they get in the trap of these VCs very early in the seed stage, and then their motive is somehow driven by those VCs and then whatever partners or whatever angel investor that they have. So I think if we can get some leeway, because if a government is investing, so the government will not interfere or will not hamper their ambition or the goals, right? So if some kind of a venture, like a government funded venture capital thing that could have been established specifically for AI firms, which will invest only in the seed stage, the initial stage that is there. Again, if a company gets bigger, then everybody will come and support them, right? Some of the big companies do that at a very initial level, without giving them a pressure of generating a profit and getting an exit and something like that, with like maybe a grant also. I am not saying that they invest is like as an investor, maybe like a grant given to some key early stage AI startups, without any equity given to them or something like that. So I think that would be the best way to support some of the early stages start. If they succeed, that's good. If they do not, then okay, that's fine, because the government has given that grant. So I think that would be really beneficial.
Lovely. Anant, you are the director of AIM Research.
Mm,
I want to ask you,
mm,
what can we expect from AIM Research going forward in
mm.
terms of products that can help, which would help? What is AIM Research planning in the near and little distant future?
Yeah, yeah. So we are working a lot within the startup landscape, right? We also do a lot of GCC based research. We also do a lot of IT services vendors based research. We have already started done last year as well. We are now trying to build a AI startup database, right, in which we list down all the AI startups working globally, not just in India. I'm talking about global, right? We already have a database, the product that we called the bot bazaar, which is like a list of all the AI setup that are currently operating in the US. So we wanted to have a like a one-stop solution in which someone comes in and get a view of all the companies that are working within this space. What are the different types of funding they have received? Which are the top firms that they have? Which are the top firms which have received the maximum funding? So we want to have that repository within us, and then maybe it will be beneficial to some companies who want to invest in India, so they can see, okay, these startups are doing really good. So maybe if they want to see, okay, what are the list of companies in India doing really well, so then we can provide that information. So we want to create a product in which all the startups which come under the AI domain, and they were to work within the AI specific AI technologies, we create a whole database with each and every information that is available about them on our database. That's a product which is already there, but we have to somehow expand it a little bit further, and also do a lot of research. We regularly do a lot of research in this space, and then we want to be like a very specialized focus research firm which do research in this space. So yeah, that's our goal, and we have been doing it last year, and we'll continue that this year as well.
Absolutely. Even the government's goal is very focused on the research and development, and AIM Research has been doing that for a fair number of years now, and will be going forward with that as well.
Yeah.
Uh, Talking about the government's goals and the government's visions, how do
Hmm.
you see the budget aligning with India's goal of becoming a global tech and innovation hub by 2020 2047? Viksit Bharat. How do you see
Hmm.
the goal? How do you see the budget aligning with that goal, that vision?
I think it's very much there. So now we have a center of excellence for AI for education. Last year it was already announced for agriculture and all the other industry. India AI mission is there. Deep Tech Fund is there. There has been a center of excellence for healthcare and sustainable cities, I guess. Smart cities. We have a very good tech stack. I think one of the best in the world for the payments and everything. So I think we are there. We are quite there now. The plan is there. Everything is there now. We have to just again thinking till 2047. I can't envision that far, but I think the platform is set. The budget is in the right direction. We just need to execute it well now. It's up to all of us now how we use that, and then maybe be able to achieve that goal that the government is seeing. So yeah, it's a collective responsibility of the government and the citizens of the country, I guess.
Anant, just yesterday itself, that is
Mhm.
31st January, the
Yeah.
chief economic advisor called
Mhm.
out India's private sector. I mean, called
Mhm.
out might be a heavy word, but mentioned, brought this into notice
Mhm.
about the Indian private sector failing to invest in
Mhm.
AI research. 50% of
Mhm.
India's R&D spending comes from the government,
Mhm.
41% from business enterprises, only
Mhm.
9% from universities. Can
Right.
India lead in AI if the private sector keeps staying on the sidelines?
No, I think not. India won't be able to do if private sector doesn't invest in India. But see, the private sector investment is very much driven by the market dynamics that are currently there. They will not invest until unless they find a value in it, right? So see, private investment is done for the sole objective of profits and getting more value. There are some firms, there are some big firms definitely which do not do investment just for the purpose of getting profit. They do it for goodwill and other, they want to contribute to the country and stuff like that. But private sector is something in which they'll do investment only on those sectors which will have a very clear path to profitability and to good exit and to good. So, and even in those 90% of them their investment fails, right? So what I feel is that the private sector will definitely come and invest in this area once they start seeing the traction. As of now, the traction is not there, and till then, that's why the government is important and the other grants are important, the institutes are important, because we definitely need to support them without the objective of getting profits out of them, or maybe get value out of them or get a major share in those companies. But if, for example, now everybody wants to invest in these quick commerce company, right? Because they want a chunk of their equity because they know it's going to be big. in the recent years. So all the private sectors are want to raise money, give money, or get their equity share. But then I think once the AI startup will start picking up in India, maybe through some innovation, some through brilliant approach, some brilliant maybe direction, they will definitely invest in the private sector will definitely go and invest. But
Anant,
yeah.
as director of research at AIM Research,
Mm-hmm.
you work hand in hand with AI startups so closely.
Mm-hmm.
What is the ideology, the mentality that you're being able to see in these startups, in these founders? Are we
Mm-hmm.
just being able to provide services, or is that future where we build our own LLMs, where we build our own AI models, is that
Mm-hmm.
too far ahead in the future, or do you see that happening?
As far as based on my interaction till now, I think the focus has more been on services. The LLMs are there now. How we do we utilize it within the Indian ecosystem and within the Indian IT services ecosystem? So most of the startups you see, except a few, I can like few two three startups, most of them are focusing on services only. Services, IT services is India's strength and India's forte, to be honest, right? Even a product, and the reason for that is because a product based startup needs a lot of more investment, right? A lot of more risk, a lot more uh, infrastructure and stuff like that. So India traditionally has been a services, IT services player, and I think in future India will be turn out to be a AI services player as well. But having said that, now we have seen that there's a lot of product companies also coming in within the tech sector, and if we are able to do that, if we can create our own LLM models which are global and which we can definitely make like compare with the big ones globally. So yeah, well and good. But that again, many people think that if we are only in services, that's a bad thing. No, I don't feel. India is good with services, that's known worldwide. Infosys, TCS, HCL, they are very good with services worldwide, and that has been our strength. So why don't we play on our strengths? If you are good at IT services, then we will be very good at AI services as well. And maybe we can be the best in the world in terms of AI. You can create a AI product, but then if how to utilize that AI product into a service, AI product alone cannot benefit person, right? There need to be a service out of it. Then, so if we can innovate in that front, maybe we can be services leader. Let them be the product leader, but yeah, we can be the service. But eventually, I would like to see India as leading in product as well. I think, and that will happen eventually if we kind of get in the right direction as well. But if we are in services only, that is also fine with me. I have no issues with that. That's really fine because again, services also require a lot of innovation and
Absolutely, absolutely it does. But
mm,
as you mentioned that you would like to see the products coming out as well, the own LLMs, the own AI models. It is something that Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman even mentioned, that make in India and
mhm,
make it for the world. If in
mhm.
short you can tell us, what do the new founders, what do the entrepreneurs, uh, what do the startups need to do to ensure that the make in India, make it for the world bit can be possible?
I think if I talk about the founder's perspective, see, these things require a lot of time, a lot of commitment. I think most of the founders which I've met have that. I don't know. Again, it's not in a bad way. I'm saying they want to get a big company created very soon with a lot of value and with a lot of a lot of revenue coming in, and then they have that again. So see, if you OpenAI was started in 2015 and they cracked ChatGPT in 2022, so 2015 it was a non-profit organization, so they were doing research. So creating a product or creating a very high tech like defining product, it needs a lot of time, and the objective should not be money there. It should be the founder should be focused on solving a problem or creating a product, and that takes time. But in general, Indians, again, I'm not saying in a bad way, we want to be create a company. For example, tomorrow I want, even if including me, right, tomorrow if I start my own company, I want to get rich very fast. I want to create that company valuation very high very soon. Services, in services you can do that, you can definitely do that. You can acquire customers quickly and quickly do that, right? But for example, if I tomorrow start a company and I'll create a product which will be like the next level, it may take 5 years to build that product because I have to complete again evolve and evolve. So then mindset need to change for the founders. I am going to create a company not for like money, but I'm going to create money will eventually come up if the product gets it will come in huge amounts, definitely. So they should focus more on like the objective, larger picture here, not like just quickly launch a service, get customers, and then raise money and then raise the valuation and stuff like that.
You know, I love what you mentioned because this is something which I have heard from a lot of other founders as well. Off the top of my head, it comes to my mind one of the podcasts that I was hosting with Deep Kalra, who's the founder
Mm-hmm.
of Make My Trip.
Yeah, yeah,
And exactly, and when I had asked him maybe one advice for young budding entrepreneurs, both AI startups and others as well, he said, give yourself and your company at least 1,000 to 1,500 days.
yes, yes, yeah,
He
yeah,
said, give the company 1,000 to 1,500 days. Don't give up before that.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
If you're passionate about the work that you're doing, then that tenacity and
Mm,
initially things won't go well straight
yeah,
away.
yeah, yeah.
So, of course, I think that tenacity bit is very important. So, it's a great insight that you mentioned, Anant. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
one of the two of the last questions that I want to ask you. You know, when it comes to GCCs in tier two cities in the country, tier two cities and tier three cities,
Mm-hmm.
will GCCs in tier two cities and tier three cities will that see an increase with the recent announcement? You know, beyond Bangalore, Mumbai, Hyderabad, will there
Definitely.
be an increase?
100%. See, what's happening these days, right now, we have all our major cities, Mumbai, Bangalore, Pune, Hyderabad, and all the GCs are here, right? All the talent is here. Everybody is coming to these cities. These cities are getting crowded. Bangalore, we have a traffic situation. Mumbai, Delhi, we have a pollution situation. We have a Mumbai, and then we have a Pune, Hyderabad. They are small as of now, but eventually, yeah,
Can I say something
yeah,
slightly off topic?
yeah,
You know, Bangalore traffic. I've lived here for 2 years. Bangalore traffic is
yeah,
bad,
yeah,
but Delhi traffic is also equally very horrible.
yeah, yeah,
In
yeah,
fact,
yeah.
one
Yeah,
hour of
again,
rain
yeah,
shuts the Delhi
yeah,
city.
yeah, yeah.
The
I'm,
solitary reason that doesn't happen in Mumbai is because of the local train. Half the
yeah,
city takes the local
yeah,
train, but
yeah,
Mumbai traffic also happens a lot.
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
Bangalore solely gets a lot of flack for traffic,
Like for
but Delhi,
traffic.
Mumbai also have a lot of traffic. Anand,
Agree, 100% agree. I've worked in Gurgaon, I've worked in Noida, I've worked in Pune, Mumbai. Bangalore is my seventh city that I'm working. I've worked on all these cities, right? And I'm not favoring any city or I'm talking. And see, it's a genuine problem, right? The talent, we all coming from different. I'm from Jabalpur, right? MP, right? So I know a lot of my friends from different states. There will be a need to create a tier two GCC
expand,
companies, expand
right?
it. How much can a Bangalore take? How much can a Mumbai take, right? It's not the fault of the city or the city administration. How much can they
Totally.
take, right? So and see now, if remote work is possible, not possible, right? They want hybrid, right, setup. So if we set up in Jaipur, we set up a GCC in Bhopal, we set up, so at least that area people will definitely come to those places. So it's I think that will be definitely happen once these city gets saturated. I'm saying these cities will get saturated in the next 3 4 years, and because of that and because of the talent that we have, they will definitely move to tier two cities, because everybody is coming from tier two cities only to these cities. So
Absolutely.
that's where.
Absolutely. And
Mm,
another advantage is then, I mean, a lot of the people, they don't have to leave their hometowns. Exactly. I mean, one of the great examples is the Infosys office in Mysuru,
I see.
the
Yeah,
L&T office in Mysuru. So,
nice.
yeah,
Yeah,
why not?
and it
I-
will benefit the GCC as well. They won't have to pay like salaries so high in Bangalore and Mumbai, because they can't we can't afford the rent there. So that's why it will give them the cost arbitrage as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. You know, that I'm glad you mentioned that. And I'm going to go back to the first answer that you
Mm,
gave,
mm.
the tax changes that have happened. How do you think, how much will that actually help the new joinees, and especially in the smaller town GCCs?
A lot, because see, again, the new GCC that in tier two cities, again they are on a lower pay scale. So people in lower pay scale again will definitely save a lot because of the new tax regime. They will save a lot of money, whether they are going to invest it or whether they are going to spend it. In both ways, the country is going to benefit. Uh, some people like to save money and invest it. Some people like to spend money. They spend more money, will get more consumer money rotation and stuff like that, or more startup spending and stuff like that. We'll have more what to say, the GDP will, if it will be affected, and everything will be like in a better way, position So yeah, so we'll even everybody in that tax slab will be benefit out of this. So there will be more spending, which is very good for the economy, for the GDP as well.
Absolutely.
Mm.
Anant, it has been such a delight to talk to you. We've been talking for more than 50 minutes. It doesn't even feel like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Before we let you go, I'll
Mm.
quickly ask you in two, three lines if you can sum up
Mhm.
how the budget was for you as somebody working in the AI domain for so many years now and also as an Indian citizen.
The budget was great. Again, the tax slab increase, very helpful. Yeah, perfect. Within the AI also, so we have seen a lot of investment last year also. This AI Center of Excellence, very good initiative. Again, the Deep Tech Fund, very good initiative, and a lot of other things. A lot of spend on infrastructure, airports. The We are already seeing a lot of development in roadways and stuff like that, railways and everything. You see now train running in Kashmir and everything. So I'm very happy. I'm very happy as a citizen. But yeah, we still have a large number of issues that need to be solved. But whatever is done, I think I'm very happy and very positive about it. Also, there was a Atal Innovation Mission also launched in 2016 under the Niti Aayog. So what I've heard that is also doing really well within the startup ecosystem. So I think that is also really good. So yeah, every year we are seeing new things coming up. So that's great. If it keeps on continuing, that's really good for the country and our AI startup ecosystem as well.
Absolutely. Anant, I mean, we were about to let you go, but you mentioned something.
Mm,
And talking about the tier two cities getting developed, the tier three
mm,
cities getting developed, one
mm,
of the things that our finance minister Nirmala Sitharamanji mentioned
mm,
is through the Udan scheme. For
mm.
those who don't know, I'm sure you all know, but still we'll tell you. The Udan scheme is the scheme through which airports were
Yeah,
being started to get constructed in
yeah,
all of those cities and towns where it wasn't already there.
right,
And
right.
through the Udan scheme, I'm not exactly being able to. If somebody from the team can tell me the amount that has been allocated to the Udan scheme, that'll be great. But through the Udan scheme, uh, a lot more. I think more than 40 new airports are going to get constructed.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
they are estimating 4 crore extra Indians being able to fly
yeah,
in these two-tier cities and in the three-tier cities and in the towns in the next few years itself. So that is all hand in hand development. I mean, you getting those GCCs getting constructed in the two-tier cities,
yeah.
and then you have the airports getting constructed as well. So it is not just AI development, and even these two will help in the startup development and the AI development, right?
Yeah, 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 definitely. These things are very important. The talent will be able to come to a location where he can work and build some AI models. So for that, yes, very important, very important. 530 crore is the investment that they have announced for the RAN scheme. Yeah.
Absolutely. Udan will get 540 crore,
Mhm.
exactly 540 crore, with a 32% lower compared to 800 crore in the year ago. But
Yeah,
540 crore is also a great amount,
right.
and especially keeping the new airports that will get constructed and 4 crore Indians that will be able to fly in the coming, extra Indians that will be able to fly in the coming years itself.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Anant, thank you so much for your time.
no
It has
problem.
been absolutely great to talk to you. Before we let you go, I will ask you one last question.
Mm,
Keeping the vision in mind of Viksit Bharat, of India moving towards a digital economy,
mm.
India moving forward with its startup boom and AI boom, what kind of work do you think AIM Research can provide through its products, through its services to both
Mm,
clients, entrepreneurs, and
mm.
consumers?
Yeah, so I think we are very well positioned as of now as a research firm that does very specific niche focus research in this segment. I think we are one of a kind of a research firm globally, I can say, that do research only in these three specific areas: AI, Gen AI, data science, data analytics, right? And we have a very good presence in India. We have a very good presence in the Indian vendor system, in AI vendor ecosystem, and also the GCCs and stuff like that. So we are very well positioned. I think we are the only firm of such a kind in the world, I guess. And now we have also a lot of work done in the US as well. So I think we can be. Let's envisioning like very far, like 5 years, 6 years from now, we can be one of the firms who are very specialized in doing this kind of research. And as this industry is like going leaps and bounds every month by month. I can now say, not even quarter by quarter. I can say it's the industry is changing month by month. And there's so much happening that we're sometimes out of think that how do you keep a track of all those things, right? The things are changing so far. So if we can be a very specialized firm and very specialist firm, we already are, but we can even scale up that much, and be a thought starter, be a think tank in this particular field, which is known globally. I think we have no limits then. I think we can do very well in this space.
Ab-
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah,
absolutely. We have been doing, AIM has been doing, and AIM will continue to
yeah,
do that
yeah,
through the efforts of the entire team, through the efforts of you and your team as well, Anant.
yeah.
Anant, thank you so much for talking to us. It
Thanks.
was an
No
absolute
problem.
delight.
Same here.
Great to have
Same
you here.
here. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks for your time, and goodbye, everyone.